Hey guys, it's Mung here. I figured I'd try my hand at doing a deck discussion video. This is my first time and I have zero editing experience, so it's probably going to suck. The sound is probably going to suck. I'm probably going to cough and sneeze all over my microphone and make it sound terrible to you, but we'll just live through that. We're getting a few noobs in the game, which is a good thing, but they're coming in up against vets with highly tuned decks using the pre-constructed decks, so that's kind of a shitty experience. And I figured we could start making some videos and explanations of decks to help noobs understand deck building and maybe not go into battle with their pants down. Okay. This deck is a Cybertronic deck. It's based around this guy, Cybersecurity MP. What a weird name. Okay. The art makes him look like a nerd. I think maybe they were trying for like Henry Rollins from Johnny Mnemonic, but it didn't quite come off. But that's okay, because he's still a badass. All right. The whole point of the deck is to try to get as much mileage out of this guy as possible. He's great cost at only 3V, so I mean you could just play a positive karma and get him out right away. Easy first turn play. The stats aren't terrible at 334. I mean, he's not really going to be winning many battles early on, but it at least makes it hard to, Slayer kill him right out of the gate. But his ability is where he really shines. At one action, he can wound himself to immediately discard any warrior in play, and it can't be activated if he's already wounded. So the best way to abuse that is if an enemy has a warrior that is really highly stacked up. It's like it's like a heretic with all the dark symmetry power stacked onto it, and it's like a friggin' 13 slayer, and it's just wrecking all your guys. Well, he can plop down and instantly get rid of them in a turn. But it's also like, say you have that 13 guy, but the enemy has a little 1v weenie that's in your way, and it's like, all right, well, I could kill that 1v weenie in conventional combat, but I could get more by sabotaging if that weenie wasn't there. So I could use Cybertronic MP to get rid of that weenie, and then my 13 is going to get me 6 or 7 victory points instead of just 1, right? So let's see how we can abuse that as much as possible. All right, so how do we do that is, well, you see he wounds himself every time he uses his ability, and he can't use it when he's wounded. So how do we get rid of the wounded state? Well, we have to heal him. All right, and we have quite a few options to do that. First is coagulant auto injector. Simple equipment. It's used in a lot of decks. Has 3 charges, 1 action to heal a warrior and remove 1 charge. This gives you quite a few uses out of your Cybertronic MP, but at the same time it's also using actions, so it's kind of not the prime choice for healing, but it is quite sustainable. All right. I mean, you end up using 2 actions really to use your Cybertronic MP, but it's not terrible, and it can keep your other guys healed as well. The second thing is first aid kit. Okay, this is the real deal. Okay, because you can keep it handy and it doesn't cost an action to heal a warrior. You have to discard it, so you only get 1 use out of it, but it allows you to be a bit more efficient with your turns and your actions. The other thing we have is, where is it? Okay, HQ. All right, the HQ will every turn at the end of your draw step, if you don't have Dr. Diana in play, it will bring out Dr. Diana in cover. Okay, now this is high value because you get a warrior, which is pretty nice. You know, not the greatest warrior, but hey, it's a free warrior. And also Dr. Diana is repeatable heals, and her ability is you can spend 1 action point to put her in cover and heal the warrior. Okay, so like the coagulant auto injector, it's not very action efficient, but it is pretty card efficient. Okay, and also destiny point efficient because you're getting a free warrior, you know. All right, so that's the end of our heal package. After that, we have a few other equipments, namely Brainwave Bomb. This is quite like a sleeper power card. How we're using it in this deck is defensively. It can be used offensively. If you have like a low V warrior, you can put it on there and kind of force the enemy to, you attack the enemy high V warriors with it and try to get a positive trade that way to instantly kill them regardless of stats, right? But here we're using that to protect our more valuable warriors because they're not very tough. Okay, they can't quite fight well in battle. So we want the enemy to really have to think about fighting our warriors, and if they're going to end up killing our warriors, well, they're going to lose their warrior at the same time, so they have to think a lot more about it. So good targets for Brainwave Bomb would be, of course, Cybertronic MP, but also the VAC Engineer and the Combat Overseer, which we will get to in a bit. Other equipment, okay. Lifeguard Armor. Lifeguard Armor is a great way to protect yourself from, high attack and also Slayer warriors. So you can put this on your squishy, Cybersecurity and your VAC Engineer, and it'll keep them around for a longer time by preventing wounds. It'll prevent 2 wounds, or if the enemy has Slayer, it'll at least protect 1 attack from a Slayer. And we also have Power Diffuser. Power Diffuser adds power immunity. This is good against stuff like heretics and Mishima Samurai and some Brotherhood art cards. Although there's some debate about how good the Brotherhood art cards are, but definitely against heretics would be the biggest threat, and then probably Samurai second, or Mishima. Only 1 because it's not like you're going to need it every match, but when it is the right match, it will come in handy. We also have the SSW 4200P, which, say that 5 times fast. Okay. Firearm gives +2 firepower and makes your guy a Slayer. All right, this doesn't come in handy a lot, but in late game, it can make the difference as you start to, stack your stats, and it helps get the weenies out of the way. But it won't really help against other stacked opponents. And then we also have subdermal plates. Subdermal plates, I legitimately think this is probably the best armor in the game. Probably behind Lifeguard Armor, because that's, more universally useful, but subdermal plates can really turn a unit into a brick wall using that on something like Combat Overseer, you're going to get, 14 armor, and that's really tough to get past. And at minimum, even if you're putting this on like your VAC Engineer or your Cybertronic MP, it's at least going to take them out of Slayer range, right? So that's really helpful there. What's up next? Okay, VAC Engineer. VAC Engineer is here. Okay, VAC Engineer. This warrior gives you a lot of value. Okay, he's only cost 4, so he can come out first turn easily. But you may play equipment, vehicle, and fortification cards for no action cost. Well, there's no vehicle and fortification cards, but equipment for no action cost. Okay, all those healing equipments, the first aid kits, the coagulant auto injectors, the lifeguard armors. Okay, this gives you a big action advantage. Okay, other factions have cards that give you bonus actions. Well, this allows us to do stuff for no actions, which on balance, it's almost as good as having extra actions. Okay, sometimes it can be better because you can put out like a whole handful of equipment in one turn, but it's not quite as useful as extra actions, but it's definitely up there. But this really allows your hands to really be used a lot quicker, and allows your turns to be a lot more efficient. Along the same lines, we have, where is it? Gun running. Okay, this we only have one of in the deck because we'd kind of rather have VAC Engineer out. But if you can't find a VAC Engineer, you can kind of consider this your 4th VAC Engineer. All right, influence play is 2 actions, which kind of sucks. But equipment cards can be played during your turn for 1 less action. Okay, so same idea, trying to get our equipment cards out without using up our actions to allow our turns to be more efficient. So we saw Cybertronic, we saw a VAC Engineer, and our other warrior is Combat Overseer. Okay, he is a commander, 6. So first turn you would have to either meditate once or have a positive karma, but he has really good defensive stats. Okay, like his fight and shoot, they kind of suck, right? But that 7 armor, that's pretty huge. So he can kind of stay on the field even without equipment, and he gets better with equipment. Okay, so he's a commander, and you can assign him to any non-unique warrior, and that warrior gains +4 to all the stats. This turns your weenies into something that can actually fight. And also a big thing is that assigning the Combat Overseer to your units does not take an action, so you can play him and assign in the same turn for only 1 action. Okay, now let's go into our economy package. All right, so every match, you don't want to spend all your actions just meditating to get guys out. You want some kind of ramp, right? So we start off with 1 financial shenanigans. Ugh, there we go. Okay. I find this to be more efficient than factory. Factory gets you 1 DP per turn for 1 action, which over time it is a lot better and more action efficient, but it's slow. Okay, financial shenanigans. Okay, it costs 1 action to put out, and your next meditate will get you 2 DP, right? So you're kind of breaking even the first time you use it, and then anything after that, you're getting a bonus, and it can allow you to, if you have a slow turn, that's 6 DP right there. If you use all your actions. Only 1 because this isn't a very economy heavy deck, and not very expensive units like We don't have any Cardinal Dominics or Alakais in this, so everything's pretty much mid-range, but it is helpful to have those extra DP in case you lose guys and you gotta bring out your second wave, right? We also have positive karmas, only 2. Again, it's not a very expensive for your deck, so these are, you know, free to play and it costs no actions to play, and each player gains plus 3 DP. And we also have reversal of fortune, just in case if the enemy has more DP than us and we want to take it. Can only be played on your second turn or after, just to prevent like really shitty openings for either player. But best way to do that is, like, if you can, whatever DP you have remaining, try to spend it and then reversal of fortune, so that you're not really giving the enemy anything. Or like if you have to use a positive karma, you know, use your positive karma and then spend the DP that you have and then reversal of fortune, so that you can get the most out of it. And then onto our fate deck. Okay, we have 1 artillery support here, really because, you know, we're not really focused on direct combat here. Okay, we want to really be winning by sabotaging, but you are going to have to fight sometimes, right? And we went for artillery support over close air support because we have the SSW 4200P, and that's what gives us Slayer. So better to have high shoot along with our Slayer than anything else, right? Just as, you know, a single combat trick, if you draw it, you draw it. If you don't, you don't. It's not gonna break your game either way. At your service. Okay, this is pretty much like everyone uses this in every deck, but how you use it really matters. Okay, because you're not able to see what's in your discard pile. That's part of the rules of the game. But if you know your discard pile is empty, like you haven't played anything, you haven't discarded anything into it, well, then you can kind of abuse this card, because then you know what you're going to get back with it. Okay, you draw a random card from your discard pile and then you annihilate at your service, right? So it doesn't fill up your discard pile either, which is kind of good. So, you know, now suddenly your positive karma, now that's 6 DP instead of 3, right? Or cards like Forced March, you know, you're taking away 1 action from your opponent on their next turn, and now that's 2, right? So that allows you to get as much use as possible. Or like, say your Cybertronic MP dies, all right, that'll let you get them back. Expedite Request. This is probably the best fate card in the game. It allows you to search through your draw pile for any 1 card and put it to your hand, and then it annihilates 2 random cards from your draw pile. It should say 3. I think they updated that to 3, but it's only saying 2. But anyway, I only did 2 because sometimes, like, I really don't need to search for anything. But when you do need to search for anything, you can basically consider this like the 4th copy, the 4th and 5th copy of whatever card you need, right? It is kind of scary because, oh, it can take out like one of the one-ofs from your deck, right? But really, it's that rarely happens. Okay, the one-of, you're usually not hugely dependent upon that to win, and it's rare for that to happen. You know, it's the 1 out of however many cards left in your deck whenever you use Expedite Request. That's the chance of it going away. But just having the ability to get whatever card you need almost whenever you need it is very handy. You used to be able to use this during combat, but you can't anymore, which is probably a good thing. But Still probably the best fake card in the game. Festering Wounds. Okay. Again, we want to win through sabotage. So anything that gets enemies out of our way is helpful. Okay, but we only want one because we're based around Cybertronic MP, and he's going to be wounded a lot of the time, so we don't want to kill our own Cybertronic MPs. But sometimes you just get those big fat baddies that, you know, won't get out of the way, and maybe you just have that one perfect combat turn where you can wound him, and this allows you to clear the path. Forced March, as we discussed, gets rid of an enemy action. Probably one of the best control cards in the game. I mean, not as good as something like Fool's Gold or Booby Trap, but Forced March is, you know, it's general, so it can be put in any deck, but also actions are probably the most important resource in the game. Actions are how you win the game. So whenever you take away the enemy's actions, you're taking away their ability to win the game. And you can almost consider it you have an extra action. So that puts you one step ahead, you know. All right. Get me out of here. Another good control card. Okay. It doesn't seem like a control card. It seems like a, ooh, I don't want to die card, you know. But this is controlling your opponent, because when they attack, they're using an action. And when they attack, they do so because it's beneficial for them to attack. And it's probably not beneficial for you to be attacked, but really it's more about negating the enemy's use of their action. Okay, and it's a tactical action, which generally they only get one of per turn. So using this ends the combat immediately, and your warrior escapes unharmed. So you just made the enemy waste their tactical action. Okay, very powerful card. Grand Assault. Only 2 of them here. Because again, we're not super focused on attacking. But it can be handy if you know, you just need to get something out of the way. But this gives you it converts one of your actions into a tactical action. So it's not really Nope, fuck. There we go. Okay. It's not really giving you bonuses, but it's giving you more of an ability to get that one pesky enemy warrior out of the way. And also, it can be played at any time. So if it's just using up space in your hand, you can just play it to get rid of it. And, you know, because any card that's sitting dead in your hand, that's preventing you from drawing a card that you want to draw, right? Because you only draw up to 7. So a lot of times it's handy just to play it, just get it out of the way. Same thing with stuff like Festering Wounds. All right, so what else we got? Hidden Cache. Okay. This allows you to refill your hand. Can also be played during the enemy's turn. You want to do this. You want to play as many cards out of your hand as possible before using Hidden Cache, so that you get the best value out of it. But sometimes it's like, oh, I really got to dig for that one card, you know, but I can't get rid of these cards. You can at least cycle it, you know, play it and get one card, but try to hold off. Try to play as many cards out of your hand as possible without using actions, and then play Hidden Cache, and then start using your actions. Because it's like, you know, you may draw that warrior you were looking for, or things like that. Malfunction. Okay, only one of in this. This is just to get rid of those really pesky equipments. Things like, whatchamacallit? Mission statement, right? Or Book of Law, or lifeguard armor, things like that. Stuff that just is making your life hell. Just try to use this to get rid of that. Only one of, because it's not, you're really not going to need 3 of them or 2 of them, and usually you can win a game without drawing this, but when you do draw it, it is pretty handy. Miscommunication. This is Doom Trooper's counterspell. Okay. Can be used on any condition, influence, or fate card. Immediately gets rid of it. Use this to protect against enemy miscommunications, or if they're going to do some kind of big play. Okay. Something that really matters. Try not to use this frivolously. If the enemy's going to play something that's going to drastically change the board state, that's when you want to use miscommunication. If they're going to put out a personnel budget, or a strength in numbers, or they're going to play a fool's gold on you, or a booby trap, things like that. But not against, like, oh, they played get me out of here. Although sometimes, if they play get me out of here, then, and it's that last little bit of victory points that's going to win the game, then you should probably play it. Moving on. We got positive karma. Again, we already went over this. This is your ramp. This gets warriors out faster. Reassignment. I like to include this in every deck. Again, it gets stuff out of the way. Alright, it does have the downside of it uses 1 action, which isn't a huge deal. But also, it refunds the warriors V in DP, so they get their money back. But it discards all their attachments and shuffles it back into the owner's draw pile. So they can still draw that guy back, but it buys you a few turns. And it's a very efficient way to get rid of stuff that's being pesky. If you don't have Cybertronic MP out, or if your Cybertronic MP is wounded, or if you just don't feel like wounding your Cybertronic MP, this is good backup plan. We have strength in numbers. Strength in numbers is always good. It can get you over that last little hump of stuff like preventing a Slayer insta-kill, or getting your V to an odd number to get you that extra victory point when you sabotage, things like that. And okay, here we go. 1 tax refund. Okay. Interesting combo in this deck. Tax refund. Plays 1 action. Annihilate one of your warriors and play to gain twice its modified V and DP. Cannot be played during combat, right? Okay. Now, one way to use this is, like, if your guy's wounded and he's going to die next turn, or during the opponent's turn, you can use this on your guy if you have the spare action available, and deny your opponent the victory points, and also get a big jump in destiny points. But the combo you can use this for is with your I lost it. Here it is. With your HQ. Alright, you have a free Dr. Diana. Dr. Diana is 5V. So you can use this tax refund on your Dr. Diana and get a free 10 destiny points, and you'll get your Dr. Diana back in the next turn. So that usually works out pretty great. And there's really almost no downside unless you absolutely needed that Dr. Diana out that turn, but you usually don't. Okay, so that's the deck, and here it is all messed up after I accidentally clicked stuff. I'm going to do a run through of the deck against the AI just so you can see how it plays out, and we'll get to that in just a second. Okay, we're gonna start up the practice match here just to see how the deck plays out, how to use your hands effectively, etc. How do you get to 62? Okay. This seems like a good hand, but I don't like it because I prefer to have a vac engineer or a gun running in the opening hand. So, but I do want the cybersecurity MP. It is really nice to have 2 miscommunications, but I'd like to increase our chances to get that vac engineer. So we'll keep 1 miscommunication. Okay, well, we didn't get our vac engineer, but I think the safest bet here is to get our combat overseer out because he's pretty beefy. So let's open up with the forced march and we'll meditate once, get our combat overseer out, and we got 1 more action. So I guess now we'll hold on to that and put the first aid kit out, and we'll end our turn. Okay, laser destroyer, not a big deal. Okay, well, since he's got 5 armor and we only have 4/3 for our attacks, we are going to play the SSW 4200B, and we will attack once, shoot, and now we got him wounded. Okay, we'll hold on to this malfunction and we will use our last action to meditate. Another undead legionnaire. Nothing too special there. Okay, so here's our at your service. Okay, we know the only thing in our discard pile is that forced march. So let's use our at your service, play that forced march, get an extra use out of it. Okay. So we can kill this guy this turn, so let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so we got 5 points out of that, but we can choose Destiny or DP. Let's get 2 Destiny to get us to 3 DP, and that gets our cybersecurity MP out. And we have 1 action left, so let's get the Quaggin inject on him. And remember that activating Combat Overseer does not take an action, so we'll play that and bump up our cybersecurity MP quite nicely. And we'll end our turn. Okay, the AI doesn't play equipment because it's not that smart yet, but if you're playing a real match, you would want to hold on to that malfunction. Okay. So we have 2 weenies on our way, and you know, trying to fight them, it's not going to get us many victory points, but we have a reassignment and we have cybersecurity MP. So well, if we sabotaged, we would get 4. And if we tried to kill these conventionally, we'd get 4, but that would take at least 2 attacks with our combat overseer. It would probably be a better idea to save the reassignment. So, and we can kill 1 of these. So I say, all right, we're going to save our reassignment. We're going to use our cybersecurity, kill 1 of their undead legionnaires. Then we will use our first aid kit to heal our cybersecurity, and we will use our combat overseer to kill this undead legionnaire with the slayer from the gun. And we'll take those victory points. And we have 1 action left. Put the brainwave bomb on the overseer just to keep him safe. And we'll end our turn. Now you can discard 1 card per turn, but I don't really see a huge need to discard anything. another undead legionnaire. Okay, so this is a situation again where it's only going to get us 2, whereas if we sabotage, we get 7. And we do have access to heals with the coagulant injector. But that would be 2 actions to use the Cybertronic MP, whereas this reassignment is only going to be 1 action. But then again, we don't have any real other uses for our actions. So since we're not really tight on actions right now, it is a better idea to activate Cybertronic. Okay, and then we'll sabotage with the Cybertronic. That'll give us 4. And then we'll use our coagulant auto injector. And we'll end our turn. Of course, another undead legionnaire. Same deal here. Alright, here's another thing with positive karma. Okay. Sometimes you don't care if the enemy has a lot of DP. I mean, sometimes you really do, because you don't want them to have hugely stacked guys coming out at like 10 or 12 or 13 V, you know, like Dominic or Alakai or Biogiant or things like that. But if they're only going to be playing, you know, mid-range guys in like the 5 to 6 to 7 range, or even the 8 range, you don't quite care, because sometimes you want to fight those because you get more. So we're just going to play our positive karma because we don't really care. And same thing as last turn. We're going to activate, sabotage, and heal. End our turn. Okay, so you see the bot will just stack. Okay, normally you're going to have a harder time than this, but we're just seeing how to play our hands. Okay, so we have a hidden cache here, but we don't have a lot of good ways to use up the cards in our hand, so we can't really empty our hand and then use hidden cache. So screw it, let's just play it. Okay, we got an at your service. Oh, we got a first aid kit back. That's handy. And we'll sabotage again. Okay, enemy plays Reaper of Souls. He's a Slayer. Alright, normally when you're playing against heretics, this Reaper of Souls would get buffed up to like, you know, 11 fight, and then you'd really have to worry. But again, we have Cybertronic MP. He doesn't care. Activate, get rid of him, and we sabotage for the win. Probably not the best example of how to use it, but it did show off how powerful Cybertronic is, because we just didn't care what warriors the enemy played. They all just got swept away every turn. So I hope you found the deck interesting. You can leave some comments or catch up with me on the Secret Cow level Discord and give me your thoughts. All right, have a good day.